Down the country roads of West Virginia, you'll find a land that rightfully calls itself wild and wonderful, and an old way of life strange to outsiders, where you don't have to go far to find someone hunting, lumberjacking, or mining for coal to support themselves, with an averseness towards the luxuries of city life. It's a place and way of life I personally can best describe as equally foreign but magical, kind of like a hillbilly Disneyland. Centrally isolated in the heart of West Virginia is Huttonsville, a town of barely 200 people with 4 stop signs and the state penitentiary. 4 miles outside of the town, or right down the creek in the Catholic Holler, is the Bishop Hodges Pastoral Center, where I lived and served for 15 months as a missionary intern. Of the many stories and adventures from my time in West Virginia, there is one that is too memorable not to share. That is of Kronk and Cusco, the camp llamas. 600 acres of the Bishop Hodges property is farm, and on it is a petting zoo for campers to explore. One morning during staff training, a truck arrived with a variety of farm animals, including the 2 llamas, that instantly became camp favorites and eventually heroes. You see, also arriving with the llamas was a fiendish mini horse named Dakota that became notorious for bullying the other animals. One time during the summer, I was at the petting zoo with my cabin when a stampede broke out in the pen. Dakota had been biting the lambs and pigs, causing a sudden commotion of animals running frantically, and my 7, 8, and 9-year-old campers were stuck in the middle. Joe, the smallest of my campers, was just about to be trampled by Dakota when Cusco stepped in front of him and kicked him in the face, sending the fiendish pony into a daze, while Kronk herding the other animals away to peace and leaving my cabin in safety. I love those llamas, and they weren't done amazing us yet. The next week, another of my cabins was assigned to the island for our 2-day campout. To get to our spot meant crossing a stream off the Tigers Valley River, which wasn't deep and was dry despite the usual summer rains. Everything was going fine, and the other counselors and I were preparing dinner, when from the woods there was a scream, and campers came running. The campers had been running across a fallen tree when one of the girls slipped and was caught between branches and the side of the stream. Luckily, the girl wasn't drowning, but efforts to move the debris failed, as the branches were too heavy for us to move, and the remaining water blocked the vehicles from helping. That's when my boss had a crazy idea. Call in the llamas. The llamas were brought over, and using the rope usually used for rock climbing, we harnessed Cusco and Kronk and tied the tree limbs to them. After about 5 minutes of pulling, the limbs were moved and the girl was saved. Our llamas were heroes again. I love those llamas, and I'll never forget them. You never know what you'll find down the country roads of West Virginia, in amongst the old trees of Mountain Mama. But maybe just a little magic came to us at camp that summer with Kronk and Cusco.